One Take Wine. Welcome back. It's Friday. Got a couple of things I wanted to try. Thought I'd share them with whoever just happens to be clicking by. Yeah, a bit of a three for today. I saved the wine from last night that opened yesterday, and then two that I picked up just today that were released today. It's Sweden's Systembolaget, which is their national sort of government-run liquor stores. There's no private liquor stores here. So let's jump right in, shall we? And I have to apologize for this first one because I don't know anything about it. I can tell you what intrigued me about it, but I don't know anything besides. Maybe if someone out there knows and you want to share with the rest of us what you do know, or I'll revisit the notes in this video and fill it in at some point. Anyway, it's a Sancerre Monoparcelle 538. And Monoparcelle, I'm assuming, is a parcel, a lot with just a certain clone or what else could it be? 538, because that suspiciously sounds like a clone. Yeah? Claude Riffaut, 2020. And I've seen a little bit online about it. Not a lot, but all I've seen is just good stuff. It's sort of like, oh, you've got to try this, and it's great. And who am I to not try wines that other people are going crazy about? Okay, what do we got? Look at that, pale, very pale color, as one would expect from a Sancerre, although it's not super clear. Wow, very, very, very lemon floral butter. This is funny because I think on the first nose inspection you might kind of go, are we in Chardonnay territory? Are we in white Burgundy? I think definitely because of that kind of peachy, sort of floral peach fruit that you get in some of the really nice ones, the softer makers, the Lefebvres and things like that. I'm not saying it's a Lefebvre, I haven't even tasted it, but you know, that sort of style. At the same time, there's a certain ripeness that does suggest Loire. There's a kind of a ripe exotica, kiwi fruit or lychee maybe. Very intoxicating. Okay, well, once you taste it, you wouldn't be in white Burgundy. Yeah. Wow. Super depth for a Sancerre. Super depth. At the same time, still light enough on its feet that you still believe it's Sancerre, but it obviously is much deeper than most, they tend to be quite crisp, and this has the high acidity, a very powerful mineral, sort of metal mineral that sits on both sides of the tongue, and then this kind of deep fruit. Very deep, piercing, exotic fruit that comes pushing through. This goes on and on and on too. It's got great length. I like it a lot. Very nice. Very, very. You don't. I mean, I'm a big fan of just regular Sancerres when I can get a hold of something good, regular. I mean, you know, a quality built Sancerre is a fantastic wine, especially with food. You know. Fish and oysters, things like that. And this would be as well. Kind of reminds me of a way more mineral Rhone wine. a way more acidic and mineral Rhone. The fruit, I think, is that it's kind of giving me a white Rhone feel. But the acidity and the structure of it, I mean, that mineral, kapow, what a hard hitter that is. If you like your wines mineral, good length, nice juicy freshness to it, while still feeling extracted, you know what I mean? That depth, that extraction comes out of it. And I don't know if it's the extraction of it or not, but, or if it's the grapes, or if they've been hanging longer, or what, or if it's just the plot. It'd be an interesting story to find out more about, for sure. It comes in at 14%, so it's not shy. Yeah, I wanted to try this today because, I mean, obviously they released them. And I thought if it was, like, super great, I'd run back and buy some more. Here's what I think. I think I like it very much. If I saw it on a wine list at a restaurant or something, I'd definitely order it. I wouldn't feel shy about it. But if I was looking for a Sancerre, I probably wouldn't pick it because it's a little bit out of character of a Sancerre. It's more of a Grand Vin than a Sancerre, you could say, if you know what I mean. It's got way more presence. You know, it doesn't have the steely focus because of that extraction, that depth. Love the fruit. Love the fruit. Love the mineral. Love the length, especially, I must say. But I'm not going to buy any more. No, I think there's at the price class it's in. I can do better. For instance, Aguila is 200 kroners more per bottle, but it's 1,000 kroners more wine. So, that's not taking anything away from this. I'd give it a solid 92. 92. Yeah, 92. That's where I'd go with that. Wines that go outside of the character, you know, limits of where they're supposed to be, I'm never really overly impressed with. I think they can be a little bit gimmicky. So I will enjoy this bottle of wine. I'm happy to have tried it. But let's move on, shall we? This second wine here, not this one, this is water. Just kind of rinse out the glass. I want to use the same glass. Yeah. I'm not going through a bunch of glasses just for you guys. So yeah, they released this today as well. Chevillon, Robert Chevillon, and Nuits Saint-Georges Vieving. So just the village. Nuits Saint-Georges. Yesterday in the online release, which is a ridiculous cheating code for Systembolaget releases on some days the really big bottles. They release them online on the interwebs. And people have figured out that, you know, having a faster system and being closer to a server or however, I have no idea. But you can actually, like when you click, your signal gets, like you get through a lot quicker. So if there's only 6 bottles available, your click might actually make it through. I kept clicking over and over and over and over, get nothing. And it's really frustrating because in the old days, what we used to be able to do was line up at the store. And then you knew you were going to get a bottle because you knew your place in line and how many bottles there were. So it was a much fairer system. This way they say, oh, but it's people all over in all the small parts of the country but it's not them. It's Danish people and it's like people internationally and it's one person and he gets all his family and friends to like sit by the computer and click away and then pays them all off. It's such a ridiculous system that they want to pretend is fair. It's one of those examples of technology didn't make things better in this case. Certainly not. We were better off before. So be it. Whatever. I'm just gonna have to suffer through it and not get the bottles that I would like to have once in a while. At the same time, maybe I'll get through on some other ones. There's lots of people that don't know what's good and gets released and they kind of miss it. Anyway, so they released all of his Premier Crus, you know, Chevillon's Premier Crus, and Vauquelin for me that's his top of the pops. I think it could be a Grand Cru wine. That's number one. Number two, the reason I want to drink this today is I like Chevillon's wines young. It's one of the only producers I would say that about, that I like them right off the top as soon as you pop them. I find them cleaner and very poised, a little bit more jewel-like already when they're young. So they're a little more, you know, especially Nuits Saint-Georges. That gets very, as a commune in general, you know, it gets quite brawny wines. They put on some meat. There's a lot of meat in these types of wines, in my opinion. So and there are finesse producers, but Chevillon being one of them, and I have had old Vauquelins that I've loved and old wines that I've loved from him. I often buy the young ones and pop them, and I enjoy them so much just because of that freshness and elegance. So what do we got here? First of all, we've got, you know, purple grape juice, really. It's insane how young looking this is. But that nose. Its nose is like it's a funky blend of like strawberry and something deeper, maybe you could say cherry, and vanilla, of course, from the wood, probably. It's so warming. It's warming. It smells just delicious, like being in a bakery. Almost blackberry-like as well in the fruit. See, and there we go. This is what I mean. You sit on this a couple of years, and what it'll do is it'll start beefing up. It'll start getting much meatier and sort of concentrated and dense from a flavor perspective. Very, very meaty. Meaty is the best way to really describe it. And here, we're not there. We're not even close to there. It's still very at the very tip of the iceberg of, I will seduce you with a little fruit, and then you're going to enjoy my structure, and this is what I'm willing to present to you today. And all class. Lovely. Very well made wine. There's maybe a bitterness on the end that is more towards the tobacco and isn't as pleasant as it might be. It's not the strongest Village that I've had from them, although I must say it's one of the more elegant ones. Wow. Just lovely the way good Burgundy. The way fantastic when the tannins are this fine and precise, you know, and they carpet, but they just meld in with your taste buds. Sort of carpet, but very, very elegantly and very, very subtly, instead of just like I'm going to be unfair to Italian wines, but like Italian wines, because that carpet of tannin tends to be very pronounced and sort of takes over. You end up describing the wine as tannic. Nothing of the sort here. Nothing of the sort. It's a perfect underpinning to the very mineral length that is both driven and lingering. Exceptionally well made for Village, for sure. The flavors might put some people off, but you know, as you might remember from past videos, I go for the structure more than I go for flavors. And wine flavors are pretty. If you can't make a good tasting wine, then I don't know you're in the wrong business. But structure, that's a bit of that's a different animal to control and to let express properly without sort of fumbling around and ruining it, which some producers do. I'm actually going to go to blackberry on the fruit. Ooh, that is licorice. That is licorice. Maybe that's why it's the licorice with the raspberry cherry that's kind of giving it a more of a blackberry kind of feel. And then a very herbal finish that loses the fruit kind of is like 1/3. And then it kind of clips mid-tongue, while the tannin goes everywhere and then immediately and very subtly carpets everything and slowly just sinks in. The mineral streaks are down the side. They're also very subtle. It's not a super hard driving one. Perfectly in balance though, because then this length comes, right? You get this very herbal finish, but after you get that herbal finish, there's waves and waves of flavor kind of coming back over, a cooling sort of sensation, kind of folds back over in a sort of infinite loop, slowly fading out, getting smaller and smaller with time. Really well made. You have to say, you have to be impressed with this kind of thing for a village. Not cheap, unfortunately, anymore. People have discovered Chevillon. It's obviously a quality producer. In my mind, the best Vauquelin from Nuits Saint-Georges. Haven't tried them all, but of the ones I've tried. Rip Roaring Start. That one I'd buy more of. I bought 2. So we'll go to one last wine, and I opened it yesterday. Those first 2 bottles were double decanted, so they've had some air, but they haven't been open very long, but they've been double decanted at least. This third one that I opened yesterday, I don't have to double decant, obviously, as it's been opened overnight. It's my favorite producer right now, Humbert. Gevrey Chambertin Premier Cru Estournelles Saint-Jacques. Usually it's Poissonneau. I'm always looking for his Poissonneau. And it's only the Premier Crus that I really go for from him from now on, except for the Village Gevrey. That's very good as well. The regular Bourgogne is pretty lame. Actually, it's very lame. And the Grand Crus I don't think they're up to scratch. I don't think they're as Grand Cru as they could be. I think the Poissonneau is a better wine. So I don't know what I was expecting with this. It's a 2015, and these guys had a remarkable 2015. 2015 was very kind to them. All the wines I've tried from that vintage by these guys have been absolutely insanely good. There's that label again. About this at auction, wasn't too bad. It's, I think 60, 70 euros, something like that. So, Premier Cru Gevrey Chambertin at that price from a quality producer these days is like, for instance, this Village Saint-Georges I paid the exact same for, and it's young. I just got released. This at least has some age. And it's warm and spicy, musky cinnamon and spice. Oh, what a charmer. Yeah, that's what I remember from yesterday. This charming little cough syrup cherry fruit flavor, or candy cherry flavor. But it was very petite. It was very doop 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 doop, but not weak or feeble in any kind of way. It was definitely present, definitely clean, very precise. And it's still here overnight, but but some of that muskiness is kind of the mushroomy muskiness is starting to kind of has grown overnight, you could say. And yesterday it had that too, but it was it was a 2-part wine, you know. It was kind of a fruit start and a musk finish. It's a medium to long finish. Medium long finish. Very elegant tannins. This is a wine of supreme elegance. It couldn't be further from Poissonneau in a way. I mean, Poissonneau I also find very elegant. I find classy. I find this one more elegant. Because I find it more feminine, more very haute couture, you could say, rather than the sort of the mineral drive and presence of the Poissonneau. But I like this so much. I must say, I would buy this in a heartbeat again. I mean, over many other wines. I remember when I first tasted it yesterday, I was like, maybe it's not, you know, because people who can't have a hard time appreciating Burgundy or Pinot Noir wines, I mean, it's because they like the big, bold. Those people not like this wine. Absolutely not. This is a Burgundy for Burgundy lovers. It's not getting anywhere near Grand Cru. It's not the Poissonneau. It doesn't have the presence of the Poissonneau, but it has that elegance and perfection of a good Premier Cru that delivers exactly en point, exactly what it's supposed to do. A bit of a ballet without the superstars, you know. Love it very much. I'm gonna go 93 plus 94 maybe. And I think I'm being cheap actually, but there you go. The Nuits Saint-Georges Village, 93, 92, 93. So not a bad crop. Early 90s. That's it for this time. I think tomorrow I'm going to open some champagne. I'll probably catch up with you then. If not, well, I'll see you when I see you. Stay thirsty.